All right, man, you're having some elbow issues while doing different exercises in the gym. So, if you tell me that you're having elbow pain doing skull crushers, tape presses, dips, things like that, I can accept that. That's a pain that a lot of people have. You're asking that tricep to contract in a stretched state. Depending on where it's connected. The fact that you use your elbows all the time. If you're like me, you move your hands and elbows all the time. It's used on a mouse, driving a car. I sit in a car and drive with this hand, put this hand on, hanging out the window. But you drive on the other side of the car. So if you're having issues with your left elbow and you're driving with this elbow sitting on the window of the car, something to think about. Absolute same thing whenever you're using a computer all the time or a phone. Where are you resting that elbow? If you're creating any kind of pressure anywhere on that elbow, that pressure leads to pain. You end up whether you're shortening the tricep tendon, you're putting a constant pressure somewhere. It is going to lead to pain. So there are a lot of things. But when you tell me that you're having elbow pain while doing bench press, that's something else. That's usually not something you see on a young lifter. And even though you're 40 years old, you are still young at lifting. If you've been lifting for 25 years and you're 40, I would say, you got some age on your joints. Your elbows have been put through the range of motion a lot of time. You've already done a lot of damage to your elbows. But that's not you. You've made a lot of progress in a short period of time, especially on your bench press. So I think there are a lot of things you can do with your training, like stop going heavy every week. Go back to doing sets of 10s, 12s, 15s, 8s, 5s. Go on a nice rep rotation. Determine at what point of the bench press your elbow is bothering you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with having a dynamic effort bench press day. A day where you are using anywhere between 30% and 60% of your 1 rep max. Going lighter is actually better. For sets of 3, doing anywhere between, say, 6 sets and 25 sets, depending on how you set everything up. There are a lot of different variations. Try to put a few of those variations over here at the side. Probably won't work out, but you can do everything from a standard dynamic effort type thing to whether you are doing, now I can't even think of the word, but you're doing blocks of training with 15 seconds rest in between for 4 sets, and then 30 seconds rest, they come back, or a minute rest, and then come back into another round of that. But there's a lot of ways to train your bench press to get faster, more dynamically, especially with bands on the bar. Then you can have another day of max effort, which may not even be max effort, but if you're having elbow problems the last 4 inches of your bench press, we can set up like a 3-board press, which would put you at 5 inches or so off your chest, focusing still on the tricep and the chest, as well as your explosion. You can start off working up to a set of 8, a max set of 8, and then the next week a max set of 5, and the week after that somewhere around a set of 3. Don't want you hitting failure, so if you only get 2, that's fine, but we don't want you taking something super, super heavy. We can also do a lot of things with the max effort stuff, doing 4 sets of 3 or 5 sets of 3 off of a 3-board with 85, 87, and 90% of your full bench 1 rep max. So you can get a lot of reps in at or above 85%, which is absolutely huge without bothering your elbow. It's absolutely huge, and that's where board presses come in. What I want to work with you a little bit today is hand position. So give me just a second. I'm going to try to reposition the camera, and I want to give you a better idea on how you can set up your hand position on the barbell to possibly take away a little bit of that elbow pain. Never mind, while we're already here, I want you to consider your grip width on your bench press. Power rings are right here. Should be the exact same as it is on your bar. This is a 55-pound squat bar. Feels better in my giant hands than a regular bench press bar. This is actually much thicker. You should be searching for your weakest grip. A close grip for most power lifters is pinky on the power rings. That's where I do most of my bench pressing. Over the last couple of years, I've had some pec twinges, some shoulder pain, and I've actually found that by widening my grip out to ring finger or middle finger on the power ring and making some technical adjustments, it's allowed me to take the pressure off my elbows and off that pec tendon that was bothering me. So what I want you to think about is, see if the idea, and I'll show it to you from here first. The idea, people say all the time to bend the bar, and they tell you to bend it this way. You're bending it away from you. For most people, that's probably correct. But if I'm in your shoes, this is what I want you to think about. I want you to grab the bar and think about bending it this way. Now, what happened with my body right there, I bend it this way. I bent it with my tricep that's up near my shoulder and my lats. I didn't bend it with my biceps. If you've got bicep tendonitis, it'll take it off that as well as the pec pain and the shoulder pain. So if I bend it this way, the bicep for me is bending it. That's putting more stress on the bicep. I don't need that. I need to bend the bar this way. So if I bend the bar this way, that put everything on that upper tricep, not the lower, but the upper. I don't have lower triceps. One arm was broken, the other one, the tricep tendon was cut off. If I bend this way with the barbell, and I squeeze with my pinkies and kind of relax with my first two fingers, kind of relax, that puts all the stress on my triceps and my lats. The closer my grip is, the more difficult that is to do. Now, I'm not saying that the widest you're allowed to grip in a powerlifting competition is pointer finger on the power ring. I'm not saying you should necessarily go that wide, but probably somewhere between ring finger and middle finger might allow you to have the best ability, especially since we're both roughly the same height. We both have really long arms. You'll be able to grab the bar and bend down and set it into your lats and on the triceps. The other thing with your hands, don't let the majority of the weight sit on the meat of the thumb. Relax that thumb and pointer finger just a little bit. Try to let most of the weight of the bar sit down here. Just like I told you, you want to squeeze with that pinky. You also want to get that bar setting on the meat of the palm. And it's hard to do without the bar actually sitting on you. And you want to bend from there. I see a lot of people will grab it in here. They'll have bicep pains because that bar is going straight down the inside of the wrist, inside of the bicep, right up here to the chest and the pec, putting stress on everything, which eventually leads to tears all the way up and down the arm. If you can set the bar to where it's applying pressure on the outside meat of the hand, it requires a little bit of hand turning and some guts, maybe some stupid guts. I believe it'll help to put more of the pressure on the lats instead of this side and that elbow on your bench press. Now let me set up actually under the bar. Let me see if I can show you how I'm setting up. Alright, now you can find a lot of videos on how to set up, how to create your arch. You do not want to be flat backed on the bench. You do want to have some kind of arch set up, even the slightest bit of arch. Don't think of it as a lower back arch, but think of it as a total body arch. You want the pressure to be on your neck, your upper traps, and the bottom, most bottom part of your butt here. Oh, I'm tight. Shoulder blades tucked. We're addressing your issue. So if I set up pinky on the power rings, and I'm grabbing with my thumbs this time, and I'm bending this way, when I unrack the bar, that's a whole lot of pain and tightness on the biceps and elbows. When I go down, it's also on my chest. I feel it in my elbows, my biceps, and I press it. That's pain straight through there. If I widen my grip a hair, I'm going to go halfway between those two fingers. Now, instead of sitting up here, I'm going to set my palm there. I do have the hand size to go around it as well. That also put my wrists straight, which is where you want them. My elbows are already tucking into the lats. Now the weight is sitting on my lats. I don't feel anything in my chest. It's sitting on my lats and the upper part of my triceps. That's lats and drive. I really hope that shows up on video. Last but not least, when you're setting up, you don't want the barbell way out here above your head. I've got the barbell at my chin, and my chin is tucked pretty far as well. Stick the beard up. It's below my chin, to be honest. If I'm bringing the bar down here to bench press, my head doesn't have to be all the way down here. That would be me unracking it from all the way out here and bringing it out. That's a whole lot of shoulder rotation, elbow rotation that I don't need. So get up underneath the bar, get set up into a position that you like, get the weight pressurized on the meat of the heel of the hand, straight wrist, and set it on your lats. Just let it relax. Alright man, keep sending me videos, keep asking questions, keep searching for the position that gives you the least amount of pain possible on the bench press. You have to stop thinking about what allows you to move the most weight per set, per rep, per week, per month, and think about what's going to allow you to use the most weight over the next year, over the next 5 years. Possibly using a little bit less weight, finding alternative methods to your training than what you're doing now, which is just going in the gym and going heavy, will allow you to use more weight over the year. So instead of training really, really hard, having some bad elbow pain or pec or shoulder or whatever it is, and then having to back off for 3 or 4 months or 6 months or knock on wood, whatever, train a little bit different. Find a way to train that gives you the least amount of pain so that you can train and make progress absolutely all the freaking time. Hope this helps, man. We'll talk to you soon. That's it! That's right! Oh, it's a ride! That's some blood pressure right there!